has a foundation. It's data.
All roads lead back to trusted data in the world we're in today.
Behind every AI win is the data that is ready for it.
These are not just data, but the data that are governed in every single step.
A trusted foundation for instance-based data.
Drives decisions, and quality data ensures that we make right decisions.
We are a data-driven bank.
Governed, trusted, understood.
We have a huge ambition around AI, but our CIO understood the importance of having data management in place. So in order to be good at AI and agentic, you've got to have your foundations in place. And I think that's the beauty that Informatica brings.
AI is not only a hype, it's going to assist us to bring more efficiency.
For us to be able to deliver high quality data at the right time to be able to support our AI agenda is absolutely critical.
For us, it will build the foundation for our data strategy and also the foundation to bring AI ready.
This is where you stop reacting and start leading. Let's lead the agentic enterprise together.
Please welcome President and General Manager of Data Foundations for Salesforce, Rahul Auradkar.
Good morning to everyone here in Las Vegas, and for good afternoon and good evening to everybody who's watching, thousands who are watching in different time zones. Welcome to Informatica World. I'm Rahul Auradkar. Yes, this is the first time you've seen me up here on stage. I'm no stranger to Informatica. I was a customer, I am a customer, and I'm a user, a prolific user. And now, as the President and GM of Data Foundations at Salesforce, I'm delighted to be part of the legacy that you have built. Informatica is the most synergistic acquisition that in the enterprise software history, I would argue. And we at Salesforce are delighted to have Informatica be part of the family. And we're pushing really hard on the incredible roadmap that we have for Informatica that has been made possible by you to drive continued success with you. So before I get started, I want to thank each one of you for being here, for watching, and for making Informatica what it is today. The trust you have placed in Informatica year over year, and for being here and continuing to trust Informatica and what we do with you to deliver business outcomes. Now, over the next 2 days, you're going to see customers who are going to present and who are doing real work. Sharing wins, sharing their implementations, whether it is Nutanix or whether it's community health choice, ensuring regulatory compliance with what they do and customer outcomes that they're delivering. Learn from them and get inspired by them. Over the last couple of days, I've had maybe half a dozen customer meetings, and thank you for all of you sharing the stories with me and our teams. I'm inspired, and I'm inspired to the point where now I have another dozen meetings coming up between now and the end of the day on Thursday. So I do want to take a moment here and talk a little bit about our ecosystem. Informatica perhaps has the best partner ecosystem in enterprise software. Informatica plays a uniquely neutral role in the enterprise data estate, whether it ranges from customers like AWS or partners like AWS or Microsoft to Databricks or Snowflake. In fact, I was spending a lot of time in the last week with leaders at Microsoft and AWS leading up to this conference. We did a couple of videos, a few of them are joining us tomorrow. So this uniquely neutral position that we have really has made us who we are, and thank you for the sponsorship. We wouldn't be here without you. So for over 30 years, Informatica has earned its place as the industry leader in enterprise data management, innovating across technology shifts, whether it's premise to cloud to now AI. And that didn't happen by accident. It happened because of your support, your help, and the incredible innovation that we have driven over the last 30 years. And now, with Salesforce, that innovation, that roadmap doesn't slow down. If anything, it skyrockets. You will see for the rest of this presentation what we're doing with our roadmap and how we are adding more gasoline to the incredible roadmap that we had already built in the past. Now, what has this innovation led to? It's resulted in the industry's most powerful, modern, end-to-end data management system. Now, it's built on AI, and it is built for the demands of AI. And over the next 2 days, you will see that we have an opportunity to hear about this through different keynotes and even customer presentations and partner presentations. This has been recognized by our industry analysts. Informatica is recognized after year by the industry analysts across 5 different categories. So here's an interesting thing. After we finished the acquisition, we announced it on May 29th. We closed it on November 18th, and it's been about 6 months. We had skepticism from the analysts and from the partners. And after that, we have had 2 separate Gartner MQs, data integration and MDM. And the results just speak for themselves. We went in there having a discussion about how synergistic the acquisition is and what we're doing with the roadmap, and we are outright leaders in MDM, and we are leaders in the leaders quadrant on data integration. This happened between the months of November through where we are today. So now let's take a step back about data itself. Data is really exploding in the agentic enterprise. As data practitioners, data engineers, and data professionals, you are at the center of this shift. And moving from the role of being data custodians to agentic data architects. Data has never been more critical, as a matter of fact, never been more abundant. If you look at it, if you take a step back a few years back, we talked about the secular shift with the COVID crisis, and then subsequently during all this period, we had digital transformation. We had an explosion of data, and that data came in from systems and humans. Now, there is a projection that there could be more than 1 billion agents over the next 12 to 18 months. You can imagine the amount of data that gets created by that. It's 10x, maybe 100x, maybe 1000x. I just have 10x there out on the picture there. So now that puts you at the center of this shift. Now, data by itself is not that meaningful until you have context. So what is context? So context is meaning and understanding the value. Context is what gives data meaning. The relationships, the interactions, the history, the policies, the lineage, semantics, and business understanding of data. So that's what context is. Let me give you one example here. What do I mean by context? So we all know Joshua Bell, perhaps one of the best violinists in our lifetime, maybe in a long period. One of the greatest violinists on the planet today. A few years ago, he played with a $3 million violin for 53 minutes in the Washington, D.C. subway. And he made all of $52 in 53 minutes. Now, put Joshua Bell in Carnegie Hall, in any concert hall for that matter. He sells out the avenue. Same talent, same violin, same music, different setting. The only difference is context. We want your job and our job is to take our data from the Washington, D.C. subway into the Carnegie Music Hall. Let me land this with another example. This is very personal to me. My daughter graduated from college and we bought a car. She bought a car. We researched for the car. Days of research, and then subsequently we bought a car. And here's what happened. The research information was engagement data that sat in different places, transactional and unstructured data, and then the purchase information sat somewhere else. Our web clicks, our mobile browsing history sat somewhere else. This is all data. The data did not have high quality. It was very apparent based on what happened next. So what happened next is within 2 days, I started getting calls. I started getting agents reaching out to me by email and by SMS text messages about the same car that we bought. What is the chance that my daughter or I will buy the same car within 2 days of having bought a car. Lack of context. They don't have a family understanding of the family. They don't know Neha is my daughter, or that system doesn't know, the brand doesn't know it. And in this case, the dealer doesn't know it either, because it's a B2B and B2B2C type scenario. They don't quite know where the transactional data sits and where the engagement data sits. The connections weren't made, the quality wasn't there. I referred to context as being lineage. I referred to context as being trusted. I referred to context as being history. Here's what happened. I went in and I opted not to get the information, but I continued to get it. That is lack of governance. Now, before we move on, I do want to talk a bit more about context. But before we move on to the rest of the presentation, I'm sorry. Context gives data meaning, as I mentioned before. And to get us to talk a bit more about context and what it means and what we're doing for the rest of the presentation here, I'd like to invite Muralidhar Krishna Prasad, who's my friend, my colleague, and he is here with CTO of Salesforce. Murli, he goes by MK.
All right, good morning everybody, and good afternoon, good evening to everybody watching online as well. I'm MK for short. I'm the President CTO for Engineering and run all of the engineering across Salesforce. You saw some amazing examples from Rahul today about context. But you know, the key thing for context is really unlocking data. And as you all know, you're all data practitioners, you know that data lives everywhere today. And the challenges are the lack of unified data, the real-time context, and also it's trusting or untrusted data. And the rest of the presentation today in the keynote, you're going to see a lot of tools and a lot of opportunities for how you can accelerate bringing all this data together, clean it, and govern it. But context is more than just data. Enterprises just don't have a data problem, they have a context problem. So what is context? If I go more deeper, it's really about who is this person. It's about what have they done before, like the Rahul's example. Okay, they purchased a car. What happened before? What was the issues? What does this data represent, and what are the actions that it's going to represent if you do something on it? And you all must have heard about the Air Canada issue, where Air Canada, their agent wrongly gave a discount to a customer, and then later they tried to rescind it, and the courts ruled that your agent is responsible for what your businesses represent. And so legally, lawfully, you are held accountable for the agent to say the right thing. So it's more important the agents get the right context, which is powered by the right data as well. Now let's look at a quick example to go even more deeper. On the left side, you see an agent. Now one of the employees of this agent says, you know what, let's close this support ticket for Shen Li because the issue is resolved. And the agent on the left side essentially doesn't have the full context. It says, you know what, yeah, I see the support ticket is resolved, great, let me just close it, and life's good. Except the customer retrits 90 days later. The same agent on the right side has more context, and see what it's doing. When we say, close the support ticket for Shen Li, it's basically saying, hold off. Shen Li has had multiple incidents in the last 90 days, all related to the same issue. And there's a renewal coming up. So if you actually, and the NPS survey is bad as well. Combine all this stuff, if you're going to close this ticket just as another routine issue, you're going to go lose the customer. So go escalate right away. And guess what? The customer was likely saved in it. It's important to know, if you go drill down with each one of them, see what is happening. Who is the customer? That comes from maybe your Sales Cloud or maybe some Data 360 instance that's pulling all the profiles together. But it's more than that Shen Li. The fact that Shen Li is representing a tier 1 manufacturing account. And that context is important for all the decisions going forward. What happened before? It's basically the third conveyor belt issue. So Service Cloud is not just giving you some data about issues, it's giving you that context, the history of the fact that there were 3 such issues with that account. And then you see, and also the fact the root cause was never solved. What happened before? This is very interesting. This is near and dear to to all of you here, which is the fact that the parts may be called differently across the various systems. Maybe the warranty system calls it component part, one of the other ones calls it conveyor belt assembly, and so on and so forth. The product 360 brings it all together to say, you know what, this is the same part. It might be named different, may have different IDs, but this is the same part. That context is important if you correlate it back to say all those three issues were the same part. And then what does the data represent? The fact that NPS survey score sort of went down, and maybe your predictive models that you run on your various data systems are saying that this customer is extremely unhappy and the churn risk is high. Finally, your field service probably tells you patterns like all these issues were occurring, but combined with the context, the fact that the renewal is due, now gives you a strong signal. So it's not just the individual data parts or the individual context, because each one has its own world of what it knows. It's when you put it all together, then you know that Shenley is a top-tier account having all these issues from the same part for the last 90 days, the renewal is due, this is an at-risk account. That is really what context does to your agents. And this is why we really brought these two companies together. Informatica can do all the things that you know about, doing the connection, the prep, and the governance, and all of that, bringing you that trusted data. And then with Salesforce, you can put all that trusted data together, create an active context, and then go activate it across all of your workflows, your agents, and everywhere that business happens. So together, this offers the most complete context creation and activation platform in the industry. And this is what powers your agentic enterprise. You see the foundation of it right there, where you see that data 360 row. That's where all the data things happen. That includes Data Cloud, Data 360, that includes Informatica, that includes MuleSoft, and all the Tableau insights. That data foundation powers everything for your agentic business layers on top. The rest of the presentation, we're going to go zone in on 4 big areas. First is how do you accelerate productivity? Because like we said, trusted data is going to be the foundation of context, which is the foundation of all agents. So how could you accelerate your productivity using data agents? The second, we're going to announce here about headless. How could you now use all of this power in a headless manner so you can actually use these new AI tools like Claude and Codex and Slack and every other tool that's out there. Third, we're going to talk about how do you now bring all this thing together along with the power that Salesforce brings in, and then go create and activate the context. And we will see how Salesforce itself, how we run our customer zero using all of these technologies. And finally, we will talk about our partners in ecosystem, how we are coming together as an ecosystem to make all this happen. In order to now go to the next section, I would like to invite Gaurav on the stage to talk about how do you accelerate your productivity. Thank you.
What an amazing time to be alive. It feels like everything is accelerating. You know, at the end of the day, if I have not burned 1 million tokens, it feels like I have not been productive enough. You know, I feel like I should have pushed my Claude a little bit more. Now, why is accelerating data management important at this time? Why don't everybody in this room, let's just deploy AI agents? Well, you know, what would be the first thing that we do when we deploy a customer support agent or a SDR or any agent in the enterprise? It is to get context together. Whether it is from structured, unstructured data, we need to bring it together, clean it, deduplicate it, make sure that there is no private or sensitive information. And that is the most important thing that we need to do for every single AI agent out there. What we can do is that for every agent that we are building, we can create a bespoke data project. That's what is happening now. Or instead, use all our learnings from the analytics and digital transformation phases and bring them into the agentic world as well to create data factories. Or better, context factories for all the blooming AI factories that are out there as well. To think of all we do, all the craft that we have deployed for years and years as a context factory is very important. That's when we start thinking of organizational productivity, business outcomes, instead of just individual productivity and all those statistics. With Claire, we have always focused on these business outcomes. Whether it is automated data governance, we launched this in 2018 by making data curation done at ML machine learning scale, providing organizations like Elevance Health and thousands of them like Elevance Health, $1 million savings in every month. With automated data engineering, we made pipeline development shorter, from 75%, giving organizations like Paychex savings of $400,000, removing all the outdated data stuff that they had and getting them 512% ROI within just 2.5 months of deploying Informatica Data Management Cloud. And for our MDM, Master Data Management customers out there, customers like Rotobenz have reduced their manual work by half of deduplicating data, getting all of this cleansed and making available to the right analytics models and AI agents. They were able to save and lift their sales by $40 million with clean data. So that's what an accelerated context factory does. It takes also a strong and time-tested engine like Informatica's Data Management Cloud. At the bottom, you have connectors and scanners that connect to every single thing in the enterprise. This engine runs on all terrains. It's powered by the Unified Metadata Foundation. Now, we talk about organizational memory. It's vast and it is fragmented. Customer data sets in Salesforce, purchase orders are in SAP, loyalty information is in Snowflake, and on and on. What metadata does is it provides a map to the agent of where the right and critical data sets are in the enterprise. Without it, agents will fly blind. We need this unified metadata foundation. It is like the table of contents for the entire encyclopedia. No agent has a context window large enough to take this entire encyclopedia and run with it. You need to give it the metadata foundation, you need to give it the metadata of your organization as the table of context, as the right pointers to where the right data assets are sitting. And then we have best-in-class products in data engineering, AI and data governance, and master data management. And all of that operated through the automated factory worker, Claire. Now imagine this world where there is not one, not two, not 10, but an army of data management agents that are working in this context factory autonomously. They know everything about your organization's data estate through the Unified Metadata Foundation. And for every single data management artifact that they create, whether it is a data pipeline, data quality rule, a data product, business term, master data management model, they go through the entire software development life cycle like an expert human would. Somebody taking a lot of time in making sure that the design is done properly, the development is on par with the specifications, the data is there to test that design, and then all the testing is done, only then it's deployed in the right place for every single artifact. That's what we have done with Claire agents. We've deployed a large number of them already in the enterprise with discovery and exploration agent. Thousands of our customers are using Claire to find out where the most important data assets are in the enterprise. With data quality agent that just went GA last month, we worked with so many of you and we were so, we got so much positive feedback about how it is improving the productivity of data quality stewards. I'm going to show you how that looks like. With product experience agent in MDM, we are able to take unstructured files and make them available to master a product catalog as well. And we have more agents coming. Data integration agent, metadata enrichment agent in the catalog, and data stewardship agent in MDM that works on your match and data quality rules as well. But that's enough of me talking. Let me show you how some of this works as well. So we'll start with looking at the data quality agent demo over here. Now for this demo story, I am going to be playing a data quality steward in the financial services industry. Now, I don't know about you, every time somebody starts talking to me about complex financial ratios, my eyes are already glazing over. I'm thinking of, where is the next liquidity coming from? But with a data quality steward being in this industry, there is no respite. You need to understand what each of these ratios means, what are the edge conditions for this. If you don't write the data quality rule properly, lots of transactions will get invalidated. You need to learn all of that. And only once you know the story behind that rule, you can start building and designing the right data quality rule. With Claire Agent, this becomes very, very easy. Now, for something like this data quality rule that I have over here, I have this LTV ratio that I want Claire to create, and there is this massive prompt. It's like Song of Ice and Fire right here. But you can paste all of this in Claire GPT and have it run the entire data quality workflow for you. So Claire goes ahead and decomposes the plan. I've already done this before, so I'm going to show you how that looks like. Here, Claire has already decomposed what are the critical things it has to automate. It extracted the right data quality rules. It came up with a plan, like an expert human would, generating dictionaries, rule specifications. If there is already an existing rule that looks like that, I don't have to create it again. Cluster all these correct rules together, generate the rule scripts, get test data in the right place, test rules, and only then it becomes ready for data management. So once you proceed with the plan, it generates the right data quality rules. It looks at all the different things that we were looking at. So I'm going to show you how that looks like. So here is the LTV ratio getting generated. The full rule code is right here, along with the test data that Claire generated for it, and testing it live as well. You know how long something like this takes if you have to do it by hand without Claire? It would take at least a week with all the meetings and then all the decisions and then getting it together and then finally coding it in data quality. With Claire, this thing is done in a few minutes. And it's not just that. What you can do now is a lot of these data quality rules come in Excel formats like these. You can have 20, 25, 50, 100, 1,000 rules in one Excel file, and then you can come to Claire and just upload this Excel directly to Claire and say generate data quality rules for it as well. Takes months of work and gets it down in minutes. We have had organizations like yourselves using this capability in their environments. They were doing 3-4 data quality rules in a good week, and with Claire, they were able to get that up to 200 data quality rules per day. So that's the productivity improvement that you can get with Claire Agent, and we are very, very excited about all of these agents available across all your data management deployments as well. So that was Claire, and now it is my pleasure to introduce on stage Carla Eid. She's the Vice President, AI Architecture and Governance at Pepsi, and she's going to talk about how she's using the next generation of data management to set the right data foundations for AI. So please welcome Carla. Thrilled to have you here over at Informatica World. PepsiCo is always at the leading edge of technology and now AI. Before we dive in though, I definitely want to understand your role at Informatica. So can you set the stage for us and what are the fundamental problems you are trying to solve at Pepsi?
Great, thank you Gaurav for having me. So I currently lead the data and AI strategy, architecture and governance at PepsiCo. So my role is to set the compass, defining where we're going with data and AI, while at the same time putting in place the foundations to get there. From data governance and responsible AI to scalable architecture, it's all about enabling innovation at speed, but with the right level of trust and control. So at PepsiCo, we're not talking AI in theory. Today, we have more than 1,500 AI assistants and agents supporting our teams across the business. And that is built on top of an enterprise data foundation and an AI platform that gives us the speed, flexibility, and governance guardrails to do it responsibly. Now, this didn't happen overnight, and in my role, we had to rethink how we architect and govern data and AI from the ground up.
Awesome. 1,500 AI agents running in production, that's no mean feat, Carla. Now, Carla, you've been a strong advocate for data governance as a key enabler for AI success. For many organizations, governance still feels like a compliance checkbox. Right? How did PepsiCo evolve governance from a control function into something that's actually accelerating the business?
We've been actually very intentional over the past couple of years in evolving data governance from a reactive support function into a critical proactive enablers for digital and AI transformation. So this shift is about really embedding governance into the data delivery lifecycle so it improves speed and trust simultaneously. So practically, this means moving more upstream, proactively assessing data, identifying and remediating data quality issues at the source, and increasing readiness before it reaches our downstream use cases. So this significantly reduces rework, minimizes delivery delays, and builds confidence in the data from the start. Now, at the same time, we're evolving our metadata management and cataloging so that we make our enterprise data much more discoverable, understandable, and reusable across the enterprise for both humans and AI, which also builds more speed and trust. Now, think about what we're doing at PepsiCo at scale. For example, we're optimizing promotions, pricing, and trade investments for more than 40 plus global retailers and 1,000 plus promotions a year. None of that works without trusted data. So really, data governance is the invisible engine behind it. And lastly, our Informatica IDMC platform is what gives this governance layer the ability to scale. So we recently modernized our MDM, data quality governance, simultaneously into a single platform, which is frankly very hard to do. But this means now that our data is consistent, trusted, and ready for AI across all the key markets we operate in.
Awesome. I heard speed, I heard trust, I heard IDMC. Now, PepsiCo has been an early adopter of Informatica's agentic tools. Carla, I know I've been working with you very closely. How are AI agents for data management changing the daily flow for your data stewards? And what does that unlock for the business?
So before I share what has changed for our teams, the biggest shift is the move from manual, slow, reactive governance into AI-augmented, exception-driven, and scalable governance. So before agentic automation, the data stewards spend their time running profiling, reviewing anomalies, handwriting data quality rules, manually tagging assets, which is slow and difficult to scale. Now with Informatica Clear agents, the metadata is scanned automatically, the lineage and sensitivity are inferred, and the profiling results are automatically translated into prioritized insights for our team and recommended data quality rules. So therefore, it really, what once took several weeks, now is surfaced in near real time. So our stewards now focus on validating AI outputs and driving targeted remediation, allowing our governance to scale without scaling resources.
Awesome. Scaling governance and no scaling of resources, amazing. If AI is automating this manual repetitive work of governance, what does that free up your team to do, Carla? Like, what does the data steward of the future look like?
So when AI handles the governance busy work, it gives our stewards their highest value time back, and that is partnering with our business data owners to define shared data standards, to fix data quality issues at the source, and evolve data governance into new frontiers like multimodal and unstructured data. So data stewardship is really evolving from process execution to business influence, building clarity, quality, and context so our teams can move with faster and with confidence.
And faster means at Pepsi scale 800,000 data stores, and then that really is the kind of scale that we are talking at. Carla, one last question, I promise you, and I think this is one that everybody in this room is waiting for. PepsiCo was one of the first major food and beverage company to also deploy Agentforce at scale. Now that Informatica is part of Salesforce, what does that combination unlock for your business?
So we've been actually working with Informatica for several years, and the decision to go all in on IDMC for MDM, data quality and governance was a significant one. And it took a couple of years of deep technical collaboration with Informatica to get there. Now the fact that Informatica is now part of Salesforce makes that investment feel even more future-proof, and it validates the direction that we're heading. So this combination, in our mind, unlocks a golden thread of governed, high-quality data that's feeding our agents in Agentforce, allowing these agents to act with greater accuracy and speed, and therefore enabling us to scale our automation across the business with trust by design built in.
Awesome. Trust by design. I think that is the answer for how we get to speed in the organization. What an amazing story. Let's give a big round of applause for Carla. Carla, thank you very much. So why do we need acceleration? Well, we need to accelerate now to get the data foundations in place. Because without data foundations, there is no AI. With that, let me welcome on stage Prateek Parekh, who is going to talk about headless data management. Prateek, please come on stage.
Hello everyone. Indeed, exciting times for software industry, especially the data management practitioners, all of us who are transforming our organizations to be the agentic enterprises. Informatica IDMC is a low-code, no-code platform. The UX, like any other UX, is predefined with metadata models and workflows. So you're only able to do what the UI allows you to do and is designed for. We call this opinionated user interface. All UX are a little restrictive on what you build and how you build. IDMC, however, over the years have provided high productivity with ease of use, consistency, and reliability. On the other hand, developers, Java, Python, SQL developers like to use SDK and software development platforms. This involves specialized skills with high learning curve, is a little bit error-prone, difficult to maintain, and takes longer. But it's extremely flexible. You can build what you want to build and how you want to build. We call this pro-code interface, and the users who use this type of tools, the pro-code developers. I've repeatedly heard from our customers, CIOs, VPs of engineering, VPs of analytics, VPs of architecture, many of you in the room. For example, Kamal from Charles Schwab, Jake from Cox, Baker Hughes, Great American Insurance, and many, many more customers that I've met over the years, that it would be great if Informatica offered both options on a single platform. Basically bringing the pro-code and low-code under one data management. This will allow the organizations to standardize in IDMC, take advantage of the broader skills in the organization, bringing consistency, enabling collaboration, and improving overall quality, reliability, and maintainability of data products. After all, Informatica has been one of the most innovative and comprehensive data management platforms that encapsulates over 30 years of innovation with support for end-to-end data value chain, unlocking data, and enabling trusted context. Is enterprise ready with scale, reliability, and performance. includes 50,000 plus metadata-aware connections, and supports multi-cloud hybrid deployment models. So to respond to all of you who have been asking for a multi-model data management platform, that's exactly what we are bringing to you and better for both pro-code and low-code users. We are bringing a new development paradigm that blends both of these worlds, where you get ease of use, high degree of flexibility, consistency. You can design and develop extremely fast, iteratively, and you can do it in the tool or system of your choice. You do not have to go to IDMC to develop. The platform comes to you. Let me repeat, you do not have to go to IDMC. The platform comes to you. There is no more context switching. The platform is completely headless. We are bringing this platform and all the data management services as MCPs and agents in the tools of your choice. Whether it's VS Code, whether it's Claude, Cursor, Salesforce Vibes, or Informatica. And more importantly, you have all the agents that Gaurav talked about to build end-to-end data pipelines that carry out the data management tasks. We are truly in the agentic development paradigm. And all of you are today, from now on, agentic developers. Okay, that really is a new way to look at data management. How about we see this in action? Let me invite on stage Shivangi Srivastava, who is one of the development leads on the project, to show us what she and her team are building. Welcome, Shivangi. Shivangi, so what are we showing today?
Good morning, everyone. All right, just to show you the power of headless IDMC, I'm going to take an example of revenue reconciliation. It's a high-stakes problem. Every enterprise deals with it, but as we know, it's an absolute data engineering nightmare. It requires ingestion, replication, quality, lineage, governance. If a developer has to do this, it would take them maybe 6 months. Even with IDMC, we would have taken 4 to 6 weeks to do this. I'll show you today how we can do this in less than a day.
Did I hear it right? 6 months to 1 day, or 4 months, 2 months to 1 day?
Yeah.
Obviously, we want to see that in action. Let's do it.
Right, let's get started. We are bringing IDMC to your favorite AI interfaces. Codex, Cursor, VS Code, wherever you like to work, we'll have it there. Now, when I say IDMC is going headless, I mean absolutely everything that you can do from the UI is also something that you can do from your headless interfaces. I'm using VS Code here with the Claude Code plugin, and I have my IDMC skills pre-configured. Along with that, I also have a GRC policy pack and a SOC 4 policy pack included in here.
This doesn't look like the IDMC interface. So what you just said is this is VS Code with Claude plugin, with IDMC plugin, and some of the third-party plugins all loaded, all the skills preloaded here.
Yes.
Awesome.
And that's going to help me build the pipeline.
So now you get the power of Claude here with IDMC.
Exactly. Right, let's start building our pipeline. So, the first thing is, Claude needs to know, where is my data? What does my schema look like? And Claude cannot answer these questions, but IDMC can. So what's happening here? Behind the scene, Claude is talking to your IDMC discovery skills, catalog skills, finding out the schema, and it found like a schema drift, adjusted for it, and we're ready to move forward. So the next thing I do is I bring in the SOC 404 policy plugin, because this is what defines the architecture. And I'm coming up with a plan of what I need to do. Now, in the past, it would have taken a data architect multiple manual hops to figure out what the actual plan would be. And this is headless IDMC. No app switching, zero context switching, and just everything that you need right within the workspace of your choice.
So what we just saw here is the plan was generated by Claude. It took advantage of all the skills that were there, and it is generating what you would typically take a data pipeline to develop around 7 steps. So ingestion, integration, transformation, quality rules, as well as in this case, the SOX compliance. Is that there? Yeah? That's what the whole thing was generated by Claude in a minute.
Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it to actually generate the assets for me now that I have a plan in place. Now here, think about it. This is not just agentic coding. Claude is using the exact enterprise toolbox that we need to build this pipeline and generating and architecting an enterprise-grade production-ready system for me. Now, I have all my assets created. Let's see, what do I have? I have replication, I have ingestion, I have a bronze, silver, gold pattern, and I also have data quality cards at every hop. And all of this in a language that developers already know and love.
And I can actually, if I'm a developer, I can go and edit this too, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay, wonderful.
You have the full control to do what you like.
And how about deployment? How about deployment?
We're going to show you. Let's move forward. Right, the next thing I'm going to do, once you generate the assets, you always have to validate.
Yeah.
So that's the next step.
Important step.
Very, very important step. Okay, and looks like we did miss something here. So we're gonna fix that problem.
What happened?
So software requires you to have lineage. We don't have lineage here, so I'm gonna install the IDMC lineage plugin and get lineage built in and generate my evidence file for this. Now, building data products cannot get any simpler than this, and definitely not any more reliable. Okay, so let's see, things are looking good now. Validations are going through. Okay, I have my evidence file created. Now, everything that we saw here was done with the developer-first mindset. We've kept every critical step of SDLC in mind. I'm initiating my pull request and start kicking off my CI/CD process. Now think about what just happened. We were able to do discovery, generation, validation, and deployment, all from the comfort of VS Code. That's all I had, Prateek.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Guys, Shivangi, one more minute. Before you go, we did not see whether the same code can be generated in IDMC. Can it do that?
Of course. Like we said, we are bringing the two worlds together. Informatica is eliminating silos. Any developer who's working in VS Code, a Pro Code developer, can now work with Informatica IDMC developers. So let's go and take a look at the data product that we just created. And I can find the same data product here. Let's look at it in a little bit more detail. As you see, this is our new UI. It's our familiar drag and drop interface, but you can also go and see the code that was just generated.
Guys, this is the same interface that you are used to use. It's completely reimagined. Big round of applause for Shivangi. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, an era of agentic development, where the platform indeed is coming to you in the tool of your choice. Industry's first governed data management platform, now completely headless. We are currently soliciting design partners to shape this future. As I said earlier, this has been because of the feedback that we have received from many of you. Let me invite Theodora Barker, VP of Data at Hearst, and our own Manoj Daryani on the stage to discuss, to see how they have been transforming the organization to an agentic enterprise. Welcome, Theodora. Welcome, Manoj.
Thank you, Prateek. Thank you, Shivangi, for an amazing demo.
All right. Thank you, Theodora, for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
So I've been amazed by listening to Theodora and learning about the evolution of Hertz. So why don't we start there? Let's provide this audience an introduction to Hertz, your role, so that they have context.
Hearst is over 130 years old. We started in media, but we've expanded and become a corporate conglomerate. We're in industries including transportation, financial ratings, and even healthcare. I get to be the vice president of data at the corporate level, which means I do data strategy, management, engineering, and I get to partner with all of the leaders of data and technology across those different companies on their data products and their technology needs. The thing that unites all of us is that they take data and turn it into information.
That's quite a portfolio. It was an eye-opener for me to learn that a doctor in an ICU, an asset manager on Wall Street, even an aviation mechanic on a tarmac, they rely on your data to make life-changing decisions. Now, last month we announced the Salesforce Headless 360, and that made waves, proving that the future belongs to open, composable ecosystems. On the heels of that, we just announced Informatica Headless Data Management. What is it you can do now that you were not able to do before?
A lot, but you know, this isn't a nice to have anymore. This is a critical path strategy these days for any company that lives on data. But there is one example that's filling up my inbox, and maybe a whole lot of yours too. You know, we are creating and using more and more agents these days. And that means we've got a lot more vulnerabilities. Whether it's data leaks, injection prompts, or new threat vectors from unsuspecting vibe coders, or just good old AI attack bots out there. You know, we might have taken a traditional approach and a conservative one and locked down access to data. But with headless data management, we can get a full picture of all of the data traveling through our pipelines now, and we can create and rationalize policies for access to data in one place. You know, combined with IAM, our security and our data teams can get granular access to data and really rationalize and reduce our risk within our perimeter while not slowing down AI innovation wherever it's happening in the organization.
So when data management policies are decoupled, you're no longer trapped in the platform. The policies become portable, and you can take policies like the governance policy, embed it in a data pipeline and make it more secure. That's powerful.
Yep.
Now, Theodora, your background is layered in data. You have deep machine learning experience. You started as an ontology expert, and now are building enterprise-wide data platforms. Here's a question that many in this room are wrestling with. How do you make sure your agents are grounded in those absolute deterministic truths and not operating on probabilistic guesses?
I've been using Informatica for almost 20 years and AI for almost 30. And there's one thing that's constant. Good data foundations, old school AI, and new AI. And today, that means LLMs, is what it takes to automate my workflows. You know, there's one type of project that I've been able to do in a couple of organizations. It's actually one that keeps bringing me back to Informatica. We have this untapped gold mine of patient data that was locked in a vault, all right? Patient encounters that were unmatched and unused. We couldn't explore them at scale. Our product owners and our clinical informaticists would go in and only be able to get just a little bit of information for what they needed, but then it got locked down tight again. They knew if they could explore it, they would be able to improve health outcomes. Well, I knew that if we applied the tool set of good data management, we would be able to explore it and still comply with the strictest of privacy rules. Now, headless data management really makes this possible because the data don't exist inside of one product. Now, our product owners, our quality assurance leads, and our clinical informaticists and their tools and agents can explore anonymized, governed data safely and quickly. We can precisely determine the impact of a clinical recommendation without ever having to reveal a patient's identity. That's safety and knowledge.
That's a great illustration of responsible innovation meeting privacy and compliances like HIPAA to really create impactful patient and clinical outcomes. Last one, and this is from the people. For the leaders feeling the pressure to move fast on AI, what's your advice to them?
I feel your pain. So, first, don't take your foot off the gas of good data quality and good data management. Because when it comes time to take that POC and put it into production, you need good data at scale. But you know, we're all running around right now using the LLM hammer and seeing everything as a nail. So don't forget to take a step back and find the right tool for the job.
With that sage advice, please join me in thanking Rahul Auradkar. Now for the next segment, we're going to get MK back on stage to dive into activating the context. MK, over to you.
All right, I'm back again. What you saw was some amazing demos and really reimagining how you're going to do data management with all those agents and headless. So you can actually do what you need in months, you can do it in like weeks and hours. But now let's take to the next step. How are you going to take all that data, all that curated, trusted data, and activate the context? So what you saw in the last sort of 45 minutes was how the power of connectivity, data quality, governance, integration all comes into play. Now what if you couple that with the power that Data 360 brings in, which is really creating that real-time context, the intelligent context for unstructured data, harmonization, really creating that customer context. Now add to it the semantics and the insights and the visualizations you get from Tableau. And then finally couple it with the missing puzzle piece of MuleSoft, which brings in the power of API management, agentic management, governance and everything. Together, this completes the puzzle of taking your data, creating the context, generating insights, and really then activating to all your agents, regardless of where they may be. And some of the big announcements that's going to help towards it, we already now GA with our catalog scanners and data profiling for Data 360 and Tableau. So all the assets that are in Data 360 and Tableau are available in your data catalog. We also are making the CDI connector for Data 360. All the tens of thousands of connectors that are available now can connect to Data 360. But more importantly, coming soon, we would love your feedback on a lot of these, is number one, we are also going to make Agent Harness, which is already open source, it's called Agent Script, along with Agent Force, available to run in your secure runtime. We would love your feedback on that. That means you can run agents everywhere that Informatica Secure Runtime runs, and you will be able to go do your own agentic processing on any data store. Then we also are going to have the native quality available within Data 360. So all the data that is curated and context created, you can do the quality on it. With the MDM integration with Data 360, you will soon see a demo on that, which is really going to power the MDM, Account 360, Product 360, everything you've created along with Data 360 to create that context. And finally, my favorite is we're also going to have Agent Fabric, which is our way of managing and running agents across your ecosystem, couple it with our data catalog to create this new Agent Fabric's context catalog. We're going to see all of that shortly. But first, I'd like to welcome Rick to the stage. What we're going to show here is how Salesforce, what we call as Customer Zero, how we manage our own integrations across Data 360 Informatica to take the data and activate the context. All right, Rick?
Great.
All right, let's switch to the demo. So Rick is basically preparing for meeting with a customer. And Coral Resorts is one of the customers, right, Rick?
That's right.
And you know what? He's just going to check what kind of data do we have about coral resorts in the system? And this is our Slack bot. You can press a send, and let's see what it does. It comes back, you see here, 36 accounts that are mentioning coral resorts. Isn't this familiar? Well, we have the same problem because account teams just go, enter all these details without thinking through, and well, yes, 36 different things. And if you click on the Org62 is our implementation of Sales Cloud. This is how all of Salesforce, all our billions of dollars flows through Sales Cloud here. As you can see here, we have a number of coral resorts. By the way, everything here is production thing. We obviously can't show you real customers, so we have using coral resorts as an example. And now, here's a problem. Of course, we have a solution for it. It's called Informatica. So we run Informatica internally, where we have an MDM for our account 360. And that is how, if you look at the source records, it's bringing in data from what are the 36 different things, collating it, making sure you get that single golden record for coral resorts. And if you go to the dashboard, you see that enterprise business ID right there. That is your single ID. That ID is used across our ecosystem to make sure we are all referring to that same coral resorts. So if you go back to the Sales Cloud, you see that enterprise business ID right there. And so he knows this is that right coral resorts, and then we can profile everything around it. But also you see the DNB number as well down there in the enrichment, and I'll talk to you how that comes into play. But it's not just Sales Cloud. Our CFO has to file taxes. And we had a lot of challenges, as you can imagine, when you have 36 different accounts. Are you doing the right taxes, payments to the right geolocation, and so on and so forth? This is Vertex, is what we use for our tax returns. And if you can see, the same enterprise ID is now flowing in there. Just doing this saved us hundreds of millions of dollars in doing the right taxes and on-time taxes as well. So this has been a game changer for us. But remember I showed you the DNB ID, right? And that is that external data source that's coming in to make that account 360 really work. How did that happen? Well, MDM has those hundreds of data integrated connectors. We can easily connect to DNB, take it through the full data pipeline, including transformations, and of course, all the new data quality agents you saw. That's how we go power our MDM. That's how we are getting that unified ID. Now, if you just stop there, that's great. We are having that data. Now let's also take it to the next level. How are you going to go create the context and activate across the rest of our enterprise? And that's where Data 360 comes in. So we have this thing called C3 Truth Profile instance that basically aggregates all the customer data from our websites, from marketing, everywhere else. And as you can see here, that account information from MDM flows into Data 360 through our connectors. And as you can see here, it's integrated with our individual, which is basically the customer. With the power of this, now we have the true profile context of what the user is doing. So that's how our agents, we go to our help site, our agents are powered by this. Same, if you go to the Informatica help site, you see that Agent Force is also running right there, and you can ask your questions there. We are already seeing huge amounts of, like over 80% of the questions are answered by these agents. And as you can see here, it's not just answering, it's also able to have the full context, the context I talked about, who you are, what has happened to you, and it's able to go reply with that level of detail. So that's how the context comes in and powers it. But it's also not just agents. The same data, the integrated data, is used to go run all your segments as well. We run huge marketing campaigns. So that same data, if you click on that high value usage, this is a segment of the data. We're able to go figure out the right accounts that we need to target, whether it's B2B or B2C. And then once you target, all that data, exhaust comes back into our system. So we're able to look at our marketing intelligence dashboards to know how these campaigns are performing. We can look at the analytics of it using our Tableau next. That is running in the same ecosystem. Speaking of Tableau, Tableau actually has the full semantic model. We ship a semantic model out of the box called the C360 model that you can extend. And that is how that data that we curated in MDM is coming into Data 360, powering agents, and also with the semantic model and the insights from Tableau, it's able to curate that full loop, and we're getting the analytics. So if you switch back to the slide, you will see that we have, this is how we power an enterprise with all the connect from Salesforce, with the data quality and stewardship that Informatica is providing, with the context creation and activation Data 360 providing, and all the surfaces that we are now able to go look at and power all of these experiences. That is how we are running our company. And this is a blueprint for all of you to look at how to do yours as well. Thank you, Rick. Great, thanks, okay. Now, there's a second thing I mentioned in my announcement. One is like how this data comes in, how it gets curated. There's a second interesting thing with Agent Fabric. Agent Fabric is our MuleSoft tool, which lets you look at all of your agents. It automatically scans your enterprise for all your agents, does the discovery, registry, then you can do governance, just like you would do normally with APIs. You could do governance with agents and everything. Now, I'm going to show you how the power of Informatica and MuleSoft is going to come together to power a context catalog that is going to transcend agents and data. Let's switch to the demo. As you can see here, this is Agent Fabric. This is with MuleSoft. You can see here, I can go to the home, I can see all the agents, already scanned all the agents here. It also has all the MCP servers, APIs, gateways, all of that. Normally, if I just go into one of these agents, it's able to then quickly tell me all the configuration. It tells me the agents and the MCP server it's connected to. That's about it, right? Its visibility is limited to the APIs it calls. I can put governance on this to know what agents, who can access it, what it can do, etc. But the visibility is limited to that. Now, but remember what we have been talking about all day. The best agents come from your best data. And you need to know whether this agent actually is getting the right trusted data. And this is where the power of bringing the two things together. Let me connect to Informatica. I have this thing, let me go connect. And you can see here, it connected to the data catalog. And this is a familiar interface to all of you. So all the data access, the metrics, and everything, including Claire, that's powering it. We are now connecting the metadata from the data catalog along with the agent fabric. And so now let's look at the magic. If I go back to the agent, yes, I'll change the password. If we go back to the agent, let's look at one of these modal resorts agent. And if you go down, you see here the resort agent, the MCP server. But now, if I click down onto the MCP server, it's able to go down to the APIs. I'm able to go down to exactly this Snowflake record that the agent was looking at. I know exactly the versions, when it was last updated, is it trusted, is not trusted, relationships, the data observability, all of that. So in one shot, now you can basically, let's switch to the slides, you can see that I can go from agents all the way to looking at exactly what data that the agents are looking at, and also looking through the entire landscape. So you can look at agent data discovery, lineage, provenance, policy enforcement, but couple it with all the data that comes with it. So you can move from just being data stewards to data and AI stewards, and make sure your agents are having the right data that you have curated and created, and bringing together the context across all of them. So that is the power that the Agent Fabric's context catalog is going to bring in. Speaking of context catalogs and partnerships, I would love to invite Andy Gutzman and Rahul to the stage to really talk about how our ecosystem and partner ecosystem is going to help bring all this to life. All right, welcome Rahul and Andy to the stage.
Guest here, thank you, first off, Andy. Our next guest here is Andy Gutzman, and Andy is the Vice President of Data Cloud at Google. Do you want to talk about your role?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thank you for having me. It's great to be here today. So I basically run data for Google. That includes all the public-facing services of Google Cloud, analytics, operational databases, BI, and storage. And then also run some of the key storage and database services for Google itself. So search, ads, YouTube, all my internal customers.
So Andy, you just got off the Google Cloud Next. What were the themes this year?
Yeah, you know, quite similar to here. So first of all, it was an incredible Google Next. It was a month ago in the same venue. So it's great to be back here again. The framing was really around the agentic enterprise, but in my world, it was around the agentic data cloud. So we're basically looking to completely flip the story on how we think about a data platform in the age of the agentic enterprise. The way we think about it is we're moving from the system of intelligence that really reports what happened yesterday, maybe does a bit of prediction, and think about a system of action, having autonomous agents that are actually taking action on the business's behalf. That is not an incremental step, that is actually completely switching how we think about AI in the enterprise. And also as we think about the practitioners, how does every practitioner actually become an orchestrator of agents? So I really think about everyone becomes a manager at the end of the day, for better or for worse. So that was the key area of focus for us. And I'm just super excited to be here today because, as you heard, data and context are really the fuel for making AI and agents work. And of course, this audience plays a big part in that.
That's great. So let's switch gears and talk about the partnership. So the partnership that we have going with you at Google is really transcends every layer. Early days, about 4 or 5 years back, when we started talking to you about zero copy with Data 360, from there all the way to where we are. And with Informatica, you have been incredible partners. I talked about it earlier as saying Informatica has a uniquely neutral position with the enterprise data architecture. So Google, has been working with Informatica for a long time. So tell me more about the partnership. Tell me where you're headed with this with Google and Informatica and Salesforce.
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, it's been just a very long and fruitful partnership, actually, both with Informatica and with Salesforce. And Informatica is, of course, a key partner to the Agentic Data Cloud as a leader in the data management space. And we share a very core belief, which is it can't just be about the raw data. It's got to be about thinking of data as knowledge and how do you activate the business and agents with that data. So really powering AI at agent scale requires that knowledge to make sure that agents are actually driving the right outcome, and we share that same belief. With Informatica joining Salesforce, I think we have an even better opportunity to work together. So, we see Informatica bring the leadership in data management to the table. Salesforce, of course, bring customer data and critical workflows to the table, and then we bring the Agentic Data Cloud. And it's not just that Informatica and Salesforce are building on GCP, we're truly integrating the solutions together with the GCP data platform so customers can really realize great outcomes. So just as an example, one of the major European airlines is using Informatica to modernize to BigQuery and building this trusted foundation for AI. Lumen Technologies is using IDMC to bring together their fragmented data state with our cross-cloud lakehouse and actually building AI-driven personalization that's driving revenue, so really increasing the top line. So we're seeing real tangible customer outcomes from these integrations.
So I think the important thing to note here is tangible customer outcomes. This partnership that we're talking about here, we've been talking to Andy and his team for several years now. It's a working level partnership, but with customer outcomes. And I keep joking that this was not, the partnership really was not forged in boardrooms, but instead it was done at the working level. So it's real customer outcomes. So speaking of agents, which is the topic du jour here, and it's been around for a while, what are you seeing in terms of enterprise adoption? You are at the center of this from Google's perspective.
Yeah, so we're just seeing tremendous adoption within our customer base. I think you can kind of see this also as we talk about the scarcity of power and TPUs and GPUs. But customers are really voting with their feet. For example, when we look at BigQuery, over the past year, the amount of agents and models consuming data in BigQuery has grown 30 times. And that's just within a year. So like more than an order of magnitude higher consumptions. That's just huge. So really what we're seeing with customers now is looking for ways to deploy agents at scale. And what I always say is when you go from human scale to agent scale, you have to start doing things differently. And I think this is also where a lot of the innovation you're driving around the trusted enterprise context really fits the bill. So what does it take? First of all, you have to be able to activate all of your enterprise data, not just your structured data. 90% approximately of enterprise data is unstructured. And so you have to find ways to really activate all of that for AI. We also have to be able to activate operational data, operational systems, streaming systems, because a lot of these actions we want agents to take are real-time actions, not just actions that happen from a data warehouse. Both, of course, data warehouse still matters, but it's not the only thing. And then last but not least, that trusted enterprise context, right? We have to bridge between what I call kind of this reactive system of intelligence, which is knowing, to taking action. And if you don't have the right context, you're not going to have the trust to actually let agents take action on your behalf.
Yeah, we should talk a little bit about, thanks for the trusted enterprise context. We've been sharing notes on that for the last several days and weeks going into it. So let's talk a little bit about the partnership itself, what we're announcing today. So what we're announcing, what we've announced today is the fact that you have all these native agents that we saw in the demo now available through Gemini Enterprise. We call that the Gemini Enterprise Edition now. It used to be
yeah, Gemini Enterprise. Yeah.
Enterprise. So those agents are available through Gemini Enterprise now, and we have the ongoing announcements that we had. But today we announced that. So what does it mean? You have the IDMC natively available inside of Google, and you can call in from Gemini Enterprise Edition through all the headless innovation that we have done now seamlessly into the engine, the entire data pipeline that we have from Informatica that can be seamlessly accessed from Gemini Enterprise. So thank you for the partnership. That you want to talk about Gemini Enterprise Edition a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So Gemini Enterprise, for those who don't know, is basically that cockpit for any knowledge worker, including business users who are not technical, to actually go and take advantage of agents. So both first-party and third-party agents. So the fact that you've actually integrated into Gemini Enterprise does mean that you're reaching a whole set of audience, right? That is usually not, doesn't really care what cloud things run on and so on and so forth. So it's really for the knowledge worker. So that's been great integration. I think just in general, the innovation that Salesforce and Informatica brought to the platform, I think is really spot on. The headless data management, I think exciting to see Claire on the platform and also integrated into Gemini Enterprise. And then of course you mentioned before the zero copy federation, the iceberg integration. So there's both, I would say, a lot of great integration we've done at the application user level, but also the infrastructure. So the nuts and bolts really have the right price performance, the right security, the right cost model. And that really aligns with our approach, which is, taking down the walled gardens, having a very open approach with our cross-cloud lakehouse. And that really helps you build that agentic foundation to activate agents in a trusted manner.
Yes, so just you saw Shivangi show you the fact that you can run governance and SOX compliance audit from a headless fashion through a cloud harness and VS, the Visual Studio Code. Now imagine doing the same thing with Google Enterprise Edition. You also get all the richness, if you may, for Gemini's Enterprise Edition. So you can see the seamless optionality that we have provided through headless innovation. And thanks to Andy and his team, we've now integrated that into Gemini Enterprise Edition as well. So Andy, as we close, you've seen a lot of waves of technology, and you're seeing this with Agentic Enterprise now and all what's happening. There are several data leaders sitting here in the room, practitioners, professionals, data engineers. Any advice for them as to how they move, how they really navigate this transition?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can just talk a bit about the conversations I have with customers. Is you can think about this as something incremental, but I think then you don't get the full benefit. You're still mostly in this kind of system of intelligence, previous generation question and answering mode. I think there's a real opportunity right now. The models are good enough to really reimagine how your business operates, how you also as practitioners get your work done. And so building that, what I call system of action, and building the foundation for true autonomous agents is really where the biggest opportunity lies. And in order to do that, as I mentioned before, you've got to break down the walled gardens. You've got to make sure you have the context. You need to build on an AI native architecture so you also get the right price performance and security and trust. But there's just a huge opportunity here to really rethink every part of the business and how the business actually operates.
Well said, Andy. Thank you for the joint customers that we have. We have got CNA modernizing their siloed legacy. We talked about that as a specific use cases. A couple of other customers who are benefiting significantly from this partnership. Both of them are here. CNA and TELUS. TELUS is the other one driving trusted context with data governance. And they're really putting that to use in operational efficiency. So thank you, and thank you for being here. with us, and thank you for this ecosystem and helping us drive the best ecosystem that we have in Informatica and Google.
Yeah, and thank you so much for the partnership. It's been great. Looking forward to the future. And I think for everyone in this room, I think being the data custodians is probably the most exciting place to be today. And can't wait to see what you do.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Andy. So speaking of ecosystems and partners, now I want to pivot into how the ecosystem and how it's going to evolve and how we value it greatly. Our community of users, each and every one of them in the audience here and people who are watching, today we are officially excited to welcome you to the part of Salesforce community of Trailblazers. We have a rich Trailblazer community, we have Data Blazer community, we have the Tableau Data Fam, and to tell you more about this, please join me in welcoming the Vice President of Trailblazer Community, Gloria Ramchandani, to the stage. Gloria.
Thank you so much, Rahul. This is exactly why we're all here today. In a world being reshaped by AI, data alone isn't enough. What transforms data into impact is community. It's the people who use it, champion it, and share what they've learned with each other. This is exactly why our Salesforce Trailblazer community exists today. A Trailblazer is a pioneer, an innovator, and a lifelong learner, and now that includes our entire Informatica family. Now today our community has over 21 million members worldwide. And with our user groups and meetup programs, we have over 6,000 community-led events a year. Now that's the power of community. Finding your group of trusted advisors that you can go to again and again to have those honest conversations, real-life use cases, and get hands-on with our new product innovation. That's the human element that matters so much more in the agentic era. And speaking of learning, we wanted to make it even easier for you to build your Informatica skills. So we're thrilled to announce that Informatica is now on Trailhead. Now Trailhead is our free hands-on learning platform that's used by millions of learners worldwide, where you can learn at your own pace on your own schedule. With 8 new badges coming soon, we have everything from intelligent data management cloud basics to data quality to MDM and even Claire AI, Informatica's AI engine. Every badge you earn on Trailhead goes straight to your Trailblazer profile, which is kind of like your digital resume for the data-driven world, because the skills that you build today are what will set you apart tomorrow. But here's what I really want you to take away today. Come, connect and learn with other data practitioners around the world through our data communities. Scan that QR code, start your Informatica trail on Trailhead, and find your community and show up in person. Welcome to the Trailblazer community. We're so glad you're here. Back to you, Rahul.
Okay, thanks, Gloria. So that's the incredible Salesforce community, Trailblazers, Data Family, and Data Blazers now, and including all the trailheads that we have for Informatica. So before we switch out of this completely, as we complete this keynote, I do want to take a moment. To introduce a new member of the Informatica family, a new member of Salesforce, Savinay Berry, who is his 48 hours on the job here. He's a new EVP and GM for Informatica. Welcome.
Great to be here. Thank you all. Super pumped.
Okay, so let's take you home here. So we have a fantastic Informatica World going in here. This is your time to learn. This is your time to connect, and with a clear path forward. So make the most of every presentation we have. We have more than 5 keynotes. we have a solutions pavilion, and have a great Informatica World. All of you, thanks for your time, thanks for your attention, and have an incredible Informatica World.